কারণে নিচে কইলে না ব্যাপারটা আছে কি আমরা বাড়ি তোমায় দেখতে আমরা কত রকম কথা তো তোর নিজে চলতে থাকি কথা কোন না এটা কই এন্ড এটা না বলবি নো কোনটা এটা আজকে সকাল থেকে ফেনিছে নাদিয়া নাদিয়া কাছে কি কাজ তো নিজে না করবি বিল দিছ কি আগে 300 টাকা তোমার ম্যাডাম দে বাবা guys it's too loud I'm teaching you okay
All right, guys. Let's see. All right. fixing up the video and audio, and then we'll be good to go. Alright guys, are we ready? We had quite a long intermission in our SAT prep. Hopefully that doesn't affect us so much down the stretch. Right now I'm just getting everything ready. We should be ready to go very soon. If you can see the pages are just scrolling through right now, that's because I'm just doing OCR on all the pages, so they're highlightable and annotatable and all of that. Besides for that, I'm just waiting for everyone to come. I think we have like 8 people watching, I believe, right now. Just waiting for everyone else. Just put your name in the Q&A when you are here. I think that would be helpful. We are going to get started very soon. I would say in about 2 to 3 minutes we'll get started. Alright guys, that's very cool. Behind you, Sat. I'm just waiting on everyone to be able to log in. Yes, 9:55 was able to log in today at 10:01 and she did see it. Good. Hi Naima. Alright guys, I was just waiting for everyone else. I guess we're gonna wait about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm just getting ready. Well, I am ready actually, just the PDF is gonna finish annotating whenever it wants to. Couple things to talk about. I haven't gotten around to post the videos yet. I did make some of them, I just haven't posted them. I will probably, well, I'm gonna say tonight, but that probably means tomorrow night, right? So I'm probably gonna post the videos either tonight or tomorrow night, sometime within the next 40 hours, right? You guys should watch them all. This is the point where you really have to practice, guys, right? Ramadan is over. You should have a lot more energy. You should be able to practice. Got it, guys? If you practice, you'll be much better off. Okay, so make sure you practice. I am going to put videos on like all of the math concepts and a couple of the logical reasoning concepts, right? Watch through the videos. Try a sample problem that I post up, and then work from there. Got it, guys? Very important that you are able to do so. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, well, I hope you guys had a restful break. I believe you had Monday and Tuesday off. No, actually, it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off from the entire SHSAT program. Well, that may not seem like a lot to you guys. It is actually a lot, right? I hope that in that time that you have finished, let me just bring the microphone closer to myself. I hope that in that time you have finished doing the McGraw-Hill book and finished all of the other books, and really had the time to review the concepts that we had difficulty in during class. I hope that you took that time and are really practicing hard at home. Keep in mind that I'm not there at home with you guys. I'm not watching you guys at home, but that doesn't mean you should not be practicing. Got it, guys? At the end of the day, it's your fate and it's your test on that October 26th date. We should have all now. Today's session is kind of interesting, and I thought about it for a little bit of time. Today's session is kind of interesting for the following reasons, right? The first reason is that usually we have 3 days to complete a book, right? Usually we take 3 days on Kaplan, 3 days on Oracle, and usually we have 3 days to complete a book. But this time around, we don't have 3 days. In fact, we have much less than 3 days, right? So what are we going to do this time around? Well, I have a couple ideas planned, but the problem is that I don't know if I want to go with any of my ideas, because here's what's going to happen. Well, here's what always happens. What always happens is this. I say, alright guys, what do you guys want to do? Which questions? Just yell out the questions, and then we'll do them. Just give me a second, guys. I'm just having trouble logging in. Okay. Yeah, so I'm like, alright guys, which questions will we do? We can't see the chat feature? Wait, guys, you should be able to see the chat feature. I enabled it. Alright, everyone can see the chat feature, everyone can comment, annotate. Just, answering a couple emails right now. Alright guys, let's get started. I hope everyone can see it. Alright. Okay guys, finally I believe we're done. I've answered the emails, I have looked at the comments, I'm analyzing the chat feature just in case anyone's on that. Looks like we're good to go, let's get started. Oh no, just give me a second guys. Sorry, I left my pen. Alright, got it. Okay, looks like we can finally get started. Those of you, is there anyone that cannot see the chat feature for some reason? All right, those of you who are good technologically wise, the internet's working. You see a visual. If I scroll down the screen like I'm doing now, you can see it. Just say your name in the Q&A box. Got it? That's always very helpful. I didn't scan the full book alone. I just skipped the pages that had like, you know, the learning material on it. According to Google Plus, it says no featured items yet. Check back later. I got it. Okay, good job. Shafeen. Alright, good job, guys. The Q&A feature is enabled. I'm not entirely sure why it wasn't working for some of you. Hopefully it's working now. Okay, I'm just refreshing all the other emails and feeds just to make sure that, you know, I'm replying to everyone as promptly as possible. Looks like we're good to get started. Yes, diverse. Okay, good job. Okay, now there are a couple ways we can do it. So what I did yesterday was I scanned the book. Well, if you can take a look at the top left, it's 132 pages, and usually the book is not 132 pages, right? It's much longer than that. But that's because I skipped the pages that had you know, had the learning material on it. I feel like the learning material isn't bad actually, but I think that you guys should go over it on your own time and really make sure that you understand the learning material, and hopefully it helps you out, guys, right? I'm here to go over as many questions as possible. So what I'm going to do is I scanned the diagnostic test. Then after that, I scanned the other two tests. So I scanned the entirety of the 3 exams that are in the book. Got it? So that's what I did, and that's why it's 132 pages. The actual book is like 271 pages, more than that. But okay, so what I want us to do, I didn't get the book yet. Okay, well, man, we can follow along on here. Okay, so we've had a long intermission. Now, in the long intermission, those who go to RQM, right? We actually repainted, right? So those of you who are here tomorrow, at the center, you'll see a nice fresh coat of paint. We've done a little bit of remodeling. Ah, I see. Yeah, yeah, Google Plus has a new feature called Showcase Mode, which lets me I don't know, feature links or something, and I turned that on. So let's say www.rqmphoto.com. Let's see if it works well. Alright, yeah, so name is correct. I guess it does turn on Showcase Mode. So those of you who are having trouble with the Q&A, just go to the left-hand sidebar. There should be a lot of buttons, and just hit that Q&A button, and you should be good. Alright? Yeah, so back to what I was talking about, RCAM does have a fresh coat of paint now. It's a nice shade of turquoise. What else is there? We did some remodeling. We removed some stuff to decrease clutter. We fixed a little bit of lighting. We're still in the process of remodeling the ceiling and everything of that nature, but that will happen in the near future. Everything looks a lot better and a lot cleaner, so you guys will be able to experience that tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoy. Now as for today, we really have to get done with this, right? Because today we're only going over McGraw-Hill in one day. One day is not a lot. So here's what I'm going to do. Usually what I do is I open up the floor to questions. I'm like, guys, here's the diagnostic test. Ask me questions. That's what I'm here to answer, right? I'm here to answer all of your questions. But here's what happens. A select few, if you don't ask any questions, and then when I look at your diagnostic scores, they're not so high, right? They're like 20% or 30% or 35%. And guess what? That means that you don't know 65%, 70% of the material. And guess what? That means that you must have questions and you're not asking them. So guys, I'm going to open up the floor. Let's ask questions, okay? Here's the diagnostic test. Let's ask questions. Got it? So, those of you, do you guys want me to go over the scramble now? Do you guys want me to go over the logic reasoning? Do you guys just want me to methodically, as in scramble, logic, math, scramble, logic, math? What do you guys want me to do? I want to hear your input. Lalone asked, what's the point of remodeling if you're moving next month? Well, the reason we did the remodeling was because we are not going to be moving next month. It looks like the estimate is about 2 to 5 months, actually. So we're like, oh, the place doesn't look so nice now, so might as well remodel until we move. You know, and plus, I believe a place should always look good, not good some months and good other months. I can't see the questions therefore. That's because you have to have the Q&A feature enabled. So, like Naima said, if you're on the Q&A feature, just go to the left-hand sidebar. If you hover your mouse over the left-hand sidebar, a couple of icons pop up. Hit the Q&A button, then you're good to go. Any other questions? Alright, so families, let's go over logical reasoning, so let's do that. Okay, make sure my mouse is good to go. Let's see. Pen. Methodically, because we'll do them methodically during the real test, the strategy test. Okay, well, I don't want to answer like so many questions at once, but the idea is, okay, I mean, we're still in Astoria. We're just moving like 2 blocks away in Astoria, but we have plans for expansion to the other outer boroughs in the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully. Okay, now let's get to work. So, let's see. Alright, so let's just do it methodically, which means like I'll go over the scramble first, then I'll go into logic, then I'll go reading, then I'll go math, and then we'll do a quick review of the scrambled, which is what I would do in the actual exam, right? Keep in mind that when you do these, you have to keep your eyes on the test, right? Because you can't be distracted, you can't, wander away. Otherwise you won't do well. Got it, guys? So try to keep focused, and then we can ask all the interesting moving, whatever, remodeling questions later. Okay, moving on. So starting with the number 1. Oh, look, the building materials. Interesting. Wait, why is that writing slanted? You still can't see the Q&A. Well, what I can do for you, you still can't see the Q&A. Well, you were never able to see the Q&A, could you? Like, that's because you're on the iPad or whatever kind of gizmo you're on. Alright, I can't entertain the gizmo. I think people's Q&A are working. Maybe next time I'm gonna turn off the showcase, but for this time we're gonna live with the showcase. Okay, so let's try to stay focused on the work. All right, the building materials are native to region and influence the type of homes that are built there. Okay, well we know what building materials, native to region, influence, type of homes built there. Okay, later when we don't have a time period, so Q's not first. Are other settlers in the East? Well, in order to talk about other settlers in the East, we kind of have to talk about settlers in the East in the current. And hey, we don't know about that. S. Seems like someone has a problem, but whatever. Okay, S. These bricks. What bricks? Well, obviously S can't be first, right? Moving on. T. because the climate of these areas was so warm. What areas? Obviously, that can't be first. So we're left with you. For example, when this country was first settled, okay, for example, when this country was first settled, there were plentiful forests, so many houses in the east were built of wooden logs. Honestly, I don't like this because but before I was able to see Q&A when I was on the iPad, that's probably because I have Showcase turned on, right? So just try to play around with that. I think we'll be able to get there. I'll deal with the technical difficulties in a bit. So I don't like this too much because U is first, but this country, we're not entirely sure what this country refers to. That's kind of weird. Was first settled, there were plentiful forests. That's fine. So many houses in the east. Well, again, I guess when this country refers to United States as an our country, and the East refers to, the East, we actually live in the East, right? So I guess that's kind of weird. But okay, so we have you first. After you, are, so here we talked about, so many houses in the East were built of wooden logs, and then we can talk about other settlers lived in the East, because, over here, it's like we first settled. Well, it was first settled, there were plentiful forests. Then we say other settlers in the east lived in areas that had many stones. So where we lived, there were plentiful forests, and other areas had stones. So stone houses became the norm, especially in the colonial period in those regions. So that's R. Then after R, we can have Q. Later, after they lived in the areas that had many stones, they went to west to places. So here's the east, they're in the east. Now they're going west. To places that had plentiful supply of clay, they started to build their homes with adobe bricks. Cool. After Q, well, these bricks, what bricks are we talking about? The adobe bricks. So we know for a fact that Q and S are a pair, right? And then after that, well, because we're a mixture of clay and straw, that was dried in the sun until the bricks were totally hardened and ready for use, right? Because the climate of these areas was so warm and dry, these simple bricks have a long life. These simple bricks, as in these, the ones that just hardened and were ready for use. That's fine. Personally, I don't like this craft paragraph so much. Honestly, I think it was a little bit convoluted, a little bit confusing. I personally think that it's not well written, right? I think that this could have been written a little bit better. Incoming chat from Samaya. Oh, is that true? When I did the Google Class link, did I link you guys to the old one? No, it's not the old one. It's the new one. I don't know. Samaya's wrong. Okay, yeah. So that's that. I personally don't like this grand paragraph. I think it was not well written. I think that this country is kind of weird. I think they have to kind of say what country we're in, but again, kind of weird. I would probably think that that's a bad. Okay, yeah, I'll probably think that that's actually a bad like copy or emulation of a real time paragraph. But okay, moving on. Paragraph 2, we have the science of archaeology grew from one person's fascination with the Iliad, the exciting story of the Trojan War. Cool. Now let's continue on with that. Well, so we know the science of archaeology grew from one person's fascination with the Iliad, the exciting story. Okay, so which one continues on with that? However, German businessmen decided to search for the site of ancient Coronation Minor. Well, I don't get why that's a however. I don't get how this transition works, because it's not really rebutting or saying the opposite of this. In the 19th century, historians speculated that both Homer and the Trojan War. Well, who the heck is Homer? Ass. While Schliemann did much to popularize the science of archaeology, his work is controversial among, okay, who is Schliemann? T. The Greek poet Homer. Well, Now we're introducing Homer. He's a Greek poet. Wrote the Iliad, and that makes sense. More than 2,500 years ago, during a period that's known as prehistory. Okay, good. So it gives us some context. T looks good. Now, let's take a look. So, he found many relics that he publicized belonging to ancient Greeks in the Trojan War. Okay, well, maybe. Well, let's take a look. So, we have that. Then we can say in the 19th century, historians speculated that both Homer and the Trojan War he described in the Iliad were more myth than reality. However, German decided to search for the ancient story and actually found the remains. So, look, if you take a look, it says here that he found the remains and actually found the remains. So here it says like, hey, Iliad is fake, right? Iliad is fake. But then this, however, makes sense after Q because no, this random historian did find the remains. So Iliad not equal to fake, right? So therefore, because of that, I put two E's. I don't know why, but because of that, we know that R and Q must be a pair. So R and Q are a pair. A German Schliemann found the thing, right? Well, Schliemann, well, he did popularize it, so that just referred to Schliemann. So that could be next. He found many relics. But this one continues on with what he did, right? It says that he found the remains, one on top of each other, and this continues. He found many relics that he publicized as belonging to ancient Greek heroes of the Trojan War. So therefore, U is after that. Well, while Schliemann did much to popular science, what did he do? Well, he publicized that many relics were actually belonging to ancient Greek heroes of the Trojan War. His work is controversial among archaeologists today, and that signifies a legacy sentence. So look, we're able to pair our way out. So T, R, Q, U, U, S. Good job, guys. Moving on. Paragraph 3. Okay, so what do we have? We have the human eye is a very sensitive organ since so much of it is exposed to the environment. Cool. So after this, well, what do we want to do? Well, let's take a look. Q, the eyelid is equally essential. Well, this is sensitive, not necessarily equally essential. And eyelid, okay. Luckily what? Why something luckily? Okay, well, let's take a look. Luckily, the facial structure on the eye is designed to protect the exposed parts of the eye from harm or at least keep it to a minimum. Well, that's kind of interesting. I guess after reading the entirety of the sentence, it could be first, I guess, because if you take a look, it says what? Designed to protect the exposed parts of the eye, and it says why? Why is it lucky? Because it's a sensitive organ, right? It's a very sensitive organ, so because it's a very sensitive organ, it makes sense to kind of have that ability. Alright, so I guess that could work. There are other aspects of the eye, well, okay, that help protect the organ from threats. Okay, so S, R, and S could somehow go together because here it says that the facial structure on the eye is designed to expose, okay, and designed to help, protect. And this says there's other things that help protect. So that's a good possibility. T, tear ducts perform an important role because, because they provide. Alright, so here after it says that there are other aspects of the eye that help protect the organ. Well, we can think about, well, what one of those? Well, one of those is tear ducts, right? So that's obviously going to be after T. U, the broad shield starts from the top while the nose and cheekbones guarded at the sides and below. Now, you were tempted to put U after S also, just like we put T after S. But no, U is going to go before S. Why? I'll tell you why. In R, it says, luckily the facial structure around the eye is designed to do blah, 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 blah. What do you think this is, bro? Eye from the top, nose, cheekbones. What do you think, bro? Eye, well, not eye, but bro, nose, cheekbones, and probably eye also, are part of the facial structure. So, R, U, S, T, and then after that, I guess, you can say the eyelid is equally essential. Equally essential to what? The tear ducts, right? Since it shuts the eye and this protects from dust and other airborne materials that could, hurt it. And it's R, U, S, T, Q, good. You guys got it? Not so bad. Work with pairs, make pairs, think about it, then you're good to go. Moving on. Alright, so paragraph 4. We have, about 80 years ago, a scientist named Alfred Wegener noticed that a map of the world resembled a giant jigsaw puzzle. Cool, interesting. Well, now, we have to kind of think about this grand paragraph just a tiny bit, right? Well, what should be first, what should be next? Experts were skeptical at first. Well, skeptical of what? Well, what's Wegener's theory? We don't know. Wegener argued that long ago the continents were all one landmass, but something had happened and caused them to break apart and move in different directions. Okay, so that could be first. That's a possibility. Sounds good. Not sure if it's gonna be first, but it sounds good. He thought that the map looked us through the east coast of North and South America, fit into the west coast of Europe, and theorized that they had been joined at one time. Exactly. So guys, take a look. You know what? S should be before R because here it says he noticed a map of the world that looked like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and then S talks about that. Looked as though the East Coast fit in, and that's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, right? And theorized that they had been joined at one time. And after S, you can have R that hey, it looks like this now, but before now, it looked like this, right? So S R go together. And then what can you say? If a plate moves, land above, we can shift. Well, okay. Scientists now theorized that the continent. Okay, so now we know that S and R explain what? Wegener's theory, right? After S and R, you should have Q, because experts were skeptical at first, right? So after we explain Wegener's theory, then we say experts were skeptical, but new facts kept emerging. So what are those new facts? Well, between U and T. Well, U says what? U says a keyword that says scientists now theorize that the continents and the oceans rest on top of giant pieces of Earth called tectonic plates that move. Here we introduce tectonic plates, and here we refer to it as in if a plate. If a plate refers to the tectonic plates. So therefore it's UT. Got it, guys? Moving on. Paragraph 5. Marian Anderson's career represents a triumph of rare talent over poverty and racial prejudice. So we're talking about Marian Anderson. This is a biographical scramble paragraph, right? So we should be talking about early years first, and then what made her famous or what made him or her famous, and then we should talk about like legacy. So which sentence comes first? Well, whichever one she's youngest in. Well, 1. Her talent was evidenced as a child, but her family could not afford to pay for voice lessons, so her church helped her. She began to perform in many different churches. Which continues on with that. Well, okay. Well, let's see. We have a couple options. She began to perform in many different churches, and then we can say Mary soon had a successful career as a soloist. I don't like the transition, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make other blocks, and then I'm going to try to connect them. Because I think they do a really bad job of emulating these grand paragraphs. But okay, let's see. Well, over here it says, because of a race, she was barred from performing a concert at the Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C., right? And then it says, instead of performing at Constitution Hall, so we know that U must come before R, right? Because U introduces the fact that she was barred from performing at a concert in the Constitution Hall. And then R says, well, okay, instead of doing that, here's what she did. So U and R are a good pair. So I got that out of the way. After that, well, I have what? I have S. Okay, her greatest achievement, however, came toward the end of her career. So that's going to suggest it comes after U and R, so I'm going to put S there. Now what else do I have? Q, soon had a successful career as a soloist in Europe as well as even though she often had to face racial prejudice. Well, take a look. At the end of Q it says even though she had to face racial prejudice, and then at the start of U it says because of her race she was barred from doing something. So it kind of makes sense that Q goes before U because Q just introduces the idea that hey, she faced a lot of racial prejudice, and then U gave an example of the racial prejudice. So we know that T comes first, so TQURS. Got it, guys? Even for the convoluted, weirdly worded, weirdly phrased grammar paragraphs, building pairs and blocks helps. If you can connect two sentences together, then build around that, and then connect to the first sentence, you're golden. Got it, guys? You don't have to go in order, right? You just build blocks, build pairs. That honestly helps. Okay, do we have any questions on the scrambled paragraphs for now? Any questions, guys? Waiting for your feedback. Guys, any questions? I need some feedback. Okay, moving on. Looks like no questions. Alright, let's start. Logical reasoning. We have 5 students who are standing in line according to the ages from oldest to youngest, left to right. So let's draw it out. Logical reasoning. A lot of you are getting these wrong because you are not drawing it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oldest to youngest. Draw it out. Always draw it out. Okay, what do we know? Well, these are all like, there's no definitive statement here. It's like, we know who's younger than who, but we're just going to draw it on the side then. Do some work on the side. So Daniela is older than Mark, so D, then Mark, as in Daniela should be left of Mark because that's what our diagram suggests, but younger than Rico. Daniela is older than Mark, but younger than Rico, so Rico would be over here. She's younger than Rico. Mark is younger than Brian, so Brian would be somewhere over here, but older than Jeannie, and Jeannie would be somewhere over here. Brian being this, is younger than Rico. So Brian could be here, here, or here. I'm not sure where yet, but one of those. So let's take a look. What do we know about Brian? Brian cannot be determined, right? Why? Because we had Brian here. He's still older than Mark and younger than Rico. Or here. He's still older than Mark and younger than Rico. Got it? But we're not sure where, so Brian's nowhere. Moving on. 12. Let's take a look. Crystal will not play soccer if Anita does. If, and then right then. So it should be A leads to C. Not C leads to A. A leads to C. Because if Anita does, then Crystal will not play soccer. Just because Crystal will not play soccer comes first in the sentence doesn't mean that the sentence hinges upon her. The sentence hinges upon Anita. If Anita does something, Crystal does something. So Anita leads to Crystal. Crystal. Anita will play soccer if Gary is not late to school. So what does that mean? Not Gary leads to Anita. Now sometimes they put the if part first, sometimes they put the if part last. But reading the sentence, it tells you what? Anita will do something if Gary is not late. So the sentence hinges upon Gary not being late. If Gary is not late, then Anita will play soccer. Cool. So we know what? Not G leads to A leads to C. Well, what can you make a connection? Well, not G must leads to A, which is written here, and A leads to C, so not G also leads to C. Do a contrapositive. C, not C, can lead to G. Contrapositive. Flip and negate. Flip and negate. So C becomes here, becomes not because of the negation. Not G becomes here and becomes G because of the negation. Base which the following which must be true. If Gary is late to school, well, Gary is not late is not G, so Gary is late is G. There is no sentence that starts with if Gary is late, right? Take a look. This is if then Gary is late. So F doesn't work. If Anita does not play soccer, well, there is no sentence that starts with Anita does not play soccer. Well, we can make contrapositive with this, which would be not A to G, but again, this talks about Crystal. If Gary is on time for school, so Gary on time for school would be Gary not late. Anita will play soccer. Yeah. If Gary is not late, which means on time, over here, Anita will play soccer. That's right. J. Anita will not play soccer if Gary is late to school. Not quite, because Anita will not play soccer. Well, we know what that's not A, and not A is nowhere besides here, right? And this is the then. Got it? So that can't be it. K. If Gary plays soccer, well, that means, well, Gary doesn't even talk about Gary playing soccer. It talks about Gary being late to school. So K can't be it either. Got it, guys? Number 13. 12 was H. Boss just texted me, just shooting her back a text. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, number 13. 5 letters are pinned next to each other on a wall. They're numbered consecutively from left to right. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do? Always drawing it out. So, numbered consecutively from left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One letter is an H. The letter C is in the second position. What does that mean? C. There are exactly 3 letters between H and L. Well, the one says I don't think 12 is H, but 12 is H. I'll explain again in a second, but the letter C is in second position. There we go. There are exactly 3 positions between letters between H and L. Well, 1, 2, 3, so H/L must be here, and H/L must be here. Got it? You didn't get 12. Okay, we're going to go over that. Okay, moving on. There is exactly 1 letter to the right of M. Well, exactly 1 letter to the right of M would mean that M would have to be here because that would have to be the 1 letter exactly to the right of M, right? So M would have to be in the 4th position. We don't know what's in the 3rd position, but what can we say? In which position is the P? Never knew there was a P, but I guess P would have to be in the 3rd position then because that's the only space left. But that's kind of weird. It could be E also because I don't know if there's a P or not. Okay, let's just quickly go over number 12. Alright guys, number 12 is not so bad. Number 12 is not so bad. Crystal will not play soccer if Anita does. So what does that mean? That means that if Anita plays soccer, right, that's over here, then Crystal will not play soccer. Which is over here. Got it? I could have said not C, actually, now that I think about it, but I didn't, but that's perfectly fine. Now I just have C leading to Crystal not playing soccer. So, A leads to C. Then what? Anita will play soccer if Gary is not late to school. So Gary not late to school is not G. Anita will play soccer. That's A. So, if Gary is not late to school, which is over here, right, over here, then we can say that Anita will play soccer. So these are our 2 sentences. A leads to C, and not G leads to A. Well, take a look. If Gary is on time for school, if Gary is on time, this is Gary not late, which means he's on time. Anita will play soccer. Well, that's Anita. Anita does. What's Anita doing? Playing soccer. And precisely, H is correct. Got it? Any questions so far? Moving on. Number 14. Most of the people going on a trip to Italy speak Italian. However, some of them are not fluent. Okay. So most people Italian that go to Italy speak Italian, some of them not fluent. A. All the people who are going on the trip to Italy speak some Italian. Usually be very wary of sentences that say all. Right? That's always very weird. All the people who are going on the trips to Italy speak some Italian. No, not true. It says most of the people speak Italian. Not all. G. Some people going on the trip to Italy speak Italian like a native speaker. Just because they're very fluent or not fluent, or some of them are not fluent, so others could be like kind of fluent or pretty fluent, that doesn't mean they speak like a native speaker. H. Being fluent in Italian is necessary to going on the trip to Italy. No, Well, probably not, because most of the people are going on the trip. Most of the people going on a trip to Italy speak Italian. That doesn't mean all of them do, right? So, and that means that some people that they're going on the trip don't speak Italian. So therefore, it's not true. J. Most people going on the trip to Italy are not very fluent in Italian. No, it says some of them are not very fluent. K. People who do not speak Italian well can go on a trip. Clearly, because some of them are not fluent, so not fluent people are going to that trip to Italy. So K is right. Guys, those who are still thinking about 12. The idea is that 12, even after you do a flip and negate, H is exactly that sentence, right? Not G leads to A is correct, and H is that sentence. Got it? That's the idea. H is equal to not G leads to A. Not G leads to A is the second sentence of the question. Got it? You don't need to do any counterpositives. You can, and you can get other possible answer choices, but none of those were possible answers. None of those, for example, not G leads to A is the correct answer choice. But let's say not A leads to G also works. As in, if Anita does not play soccer, then Gary will be late. Well, but that's not an answer choice, is it? So therefore, it can't be. Got it, guys? And it's easier to see why question answer is right or they're wrong. So if you think that it's something else but H, try to say, okay, maybe it's G. Well, why is it not G? Or why is it not K? Got it? All right, moving on. So we have a code game here, right? And now code games are fun. So let's go over it. Now, when we do code games, we always take a look at the third rule, right? So let's see. In the code below, each letter always represents the same word. Each word is represented by only one letter. In any given sentence, the letters may or may not be presented in the same words as the words. Same order. 14 is K. Yeah. Precisely. Okay, so in any given sentence, the letters may or may not be presented in the same order as the words. Well, let's take a look. What do we have here? So, nice. So the third rule pretty much tells us that this is the useless version, right? This tells us that since M is on top of Mary, so since M is on top of Mary, M could be Mary, M doesn't have to be Mary. Got it? So it's kind of useless. Just see something. Okay, good. No questions. All right, good. So let's take a look. Which letter represents the word Dante? Well, let's see where Dante is. Well, Dante is over here. Dante is nowhere else, is he? Oh, he's nowhere else. So which letter is only in the last sentence where Dante is? Which letter is only in that fourth sentence? Well, how about M? No, M is in the first sentence. How about Z? Possibility. How about R? No, R is in the second sentence. No, third sentence. Well, first, second, and third sentence. How about X? No, X is in that third sentence. How about N? N is in the second sentence. That leaves us with Z. So Dante is only in the fourth sentence, and Z is only in the fourth sentence. So Z is the answer. Moving on, 16. Which word is represented by the letter N? Well, which sentences have the letter N in them? Well, over here. Over here. That's it. So just the second and the fourth. Well, which words are in common in the second and the fourth? Letitia? No. Swam? Yes. Could be swam. But swam is also in the third sentence where there is no N. So it can't be swam. Can't be Letitia. How about laps? No, laps is in all four sentences, so it can't be laps either. How about with? No, with is in all three sentences, and there's no N here. Right? There's no N in the third sentence, and with is in the third sentence, so it can be with. How about friends? Well, yes. Friends is in the second sentence, friends is in the fourth sentence, and it's only in those two sentences, right? Where N is only in those two sentences. So because N is only in the second and fourth sentence, and friends is only in the second and fourth sentence, and that's the only possibility left. friends, is correct. 17. At a fabric store, there are 5 different kinds of fabric piled one on top of the other. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The linen is third from the top. So 1, 2, 3. Linen must be here. Exactly 2 fabrics are between, well, we still not, I'm not sure yet. 2 fabrics are between the wool and the silk. So that could be anywhere though. Could be here or there, I'm not sure yet. The cotton fabric is higher in the stack than the wool is. Well, therefore, we know that, well, between the wool and the silk, okay, well, we really can't tell much there, right? Because, you know, it's just a lot of possibilities even with that. But we're given what? If the bottom fabric is wool, okay, so now it gives us the bottom fabric is wool. What do we know? Exactly 2 fabrics are between the wool and linen, silk, wool and silk. So 1, 2, that must be silk. We know that cotton fabric is higher than the wool is. Well, the cotton could be here, or cotton could be here, doesn't matter. We're in about corduroy, so even then it's D, corduroy or cotton. Got it, guys? We're not entirely sure which one is first, so D. Can't be silk, because we know that silk is second from top. Alright, moving on. People who become members of the Sister Cities Club are expected to volunteer 5 hours a month to help with events the organization holds. Terry volunteers 3 hours to Sister Cities. Based on the information above, which the following must be true? Let's take a look. People who become members of the Sister Cities Club are expected to volunteer 5 hours a month to help with the events. Well, Terry volunteers 3 hours, so that means that she is not doing what she's expected to do if she is a member of Sister Cities. Or, yeah. F. Terry is not a member of, well, not necessarily. Maybe she's just not doing what she's supposed to, right? Like, you could be a member of something and not do what you're supposed to. So F is not necessarily it. G. If Terry had more free, we don't know what she would do if she had more free time. More free time is not even mentioned in the question. So G is out. If all members of the club volunteer in 3 months, Sister cannot. We don't know. We don't know that. We don't know how Sister Cities Club continues to exist or whatever it is, right? We don't know their business structure. J. Terry's a volunteer for other. We don't know that. Terry, who knows? Maybe Terry, I don't know, sleeps all day and only has time to volunteer 3 hours, right? We don't know that. J is not it. K. If Terry's a member of Sister Cities Club, okay, she does not do what's expected. Precisely, right? Doesn't mean she's gonna get kicked out or fired. She's just not doing what she's expected to do. Go with the answer as it always seems the least. 19. 4 people were riding bikes to the lane. They arrived at the lake one at a time. Their bikes were all different colors. One was red, another yellow, another 2 green and blue. Okay, so let's take a look. So different colors and different names, right? So sequencing matching game. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna do this one color. And I'm gonna do this one name. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Paula rode red. The red bike got we know what? We know that Josh arrived right after Paula. So Josh is right after Paula. We know that that someone arrived after Josh. Sally arrived after Josh, right? So Paula was first. Well, Paula might be first to red, and then we had Josh, and then what? Sally, who rode the yellow bike. So Sally came after that, arrived after Josh. Chet was not riding blue, so that must mean that what? Chet was not riding blue, so Chet must be riding green, and Josh must be riding blue. Right? Anything else we can tell? Josh arrived right after Paula. Paula rode the red bike. Red bike got to the lane before the green bike. Red bike got to the lane before the green bike. Josh arrived right after Paula, so Chet must be either here or here. So we know what, Paula is definitely first at red. Josh arrived right after Paula at blue. Then Chet could be here, or S could be here, Samantha or ever Sally, and that could mean it's yellow. Well, it could be green or yellow, and same thing. Chet, Sally, green or yellow. We're not entirely sure if Sally arrived before Chet or after Chet. Which of the following must be true? The blue bike arrived before the green bike. Blue before green, and yes, that is true, right? Regardless, if Chet arrived third, blue is still second, so that's before. If Chet arrived fourth, blue is still second, that's before. Got it? So regardless of what that is, we know that arrived first. Okay, moving on. I believe we're done. No, 20. If it is raining, the school bus could be late. So raining leads to school bus. If it is sunny, school bus on time. So sunny, well, the opposite of being late is on time. So school bus on time. So that's not late. Reese following, which could be not true. Well, so you could do a counterpositive of this. That would be school bus late. If school bus is late, then not sunny. Well, then you could. Well, like I said, kind of optional article. You could combine them, but that would lead R to not S, and that kind of is nonsensical. If it is raining, it's not sunny. Of course, it's not sunny. So statistically, the answer is the school bus is on time when it is not raining. Not necessarily. It doesn't say that anywhere. The school bus is late when it's cloudy. We're not sure when anything is cloudy what happens, so G is not it. H, rain may cause the school bus to be late. That's interesting. It says may cause the school bus to be late. And that's true because if it is raining, the school bus could be late. And that's what H says. Got it? It says could be. It never says school bus is late, which is interesting, right? You really have to pay attention for that. A rain may cause the school bus to be late. So the school bus could be late. Doesn't have to be late, so that's what's H. Kind of interesting. Alright, so we're done with logical reasoning. We're done with the scram paragraphs. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask, right? If you don't have any questions, guess what you have to do, guys? We're going to individually do the reading comprehension, guys. So break up, do the questions. As always, like before, when one person does a question, another person can't do the same question, and I expect everyone to chip in quite a bit. Alright, guys, so let's work on the reading comprehension. Let's do it. Alright, you can answer on the Q&A, you can answer via email, you can answer via the Google Plus comments, you can answer via YouTube, whatever it is that floats your boat. Have to do it. Got it, guys? Let's do it. We'll definitely get a chance to take a look at the math. I just want to make sure everyone can do the reading. Got it, guys? Let's individually do it. It shouldn't take that long if you guys break it up. Alright, guys? Let's do it. Come on. The math looks like this, though. Don't you want to see first paragraph? Good job. I'm just going to clean out the questions so you guys know who answered what. So Shafina already answered 21. Alright, guys. Keep it coming. Guys, come on. Guys, come on. Get together. 23 is C because of the end of paragraph 2. Good job. Good job, Reset. Keep it coming, guys. Everyone has to contribute. $22K, good job. Little 1. 24F, good job, Frizana. Alright, good job, 34. Okay, good job, 34, 23, 21, 25 by email, I believe, and if the Q&A feature isn't working, guys, it's because I have turned on the showcase feature, but if you hit the left-hand sidebar, you'll be able to see the Q&A. Got it? $24 done, $22 done. Alright guys, everyone else, come on, let's get some work done. Next 5 minutes, or in the next 5 minutes, expect you guys to split it up and get it all done. Got it, guys? Up to 50. Alright guys, come on, 5 minutes. Let's do it. Yep, step up to the plate, Shafi. Everyone else, come on, let's get some work done. Samaya, Farzana, Nisat. Alright guys, everyone else, come on. Typhor still hasn't answered one. Come on, guys. Twenty-seven E, good job alone. Alright, 28J. Alright guys, looks like this is gonna take you guys a while. What I'm gonna do is I am going, well, this should be done already, guys, right? So before the sessions, you guys should be finishing the tasks before we go over them, and this indicates that you have completed them, right, guys? You guys shouldn't just wait for me to go over everything. You should have questions in mind and be able to do it on your own, and then it's a much more productive session, right, instead of me having to wait for you guys to finish. Alright guys, let's just continue with the math, alright? You guys should do it on your own time, and then hopefully, I don't know, look at the answer key, get it right. Okay, guys, you guys should have it done already. Sure not to wait for you guys to finish, alright? Okay, moving along. Okay, so what do we have here? So 51 to 100. How do you guys want me to do this? Do you guys want me to go over every single question? Do you guys want me to go over select questions? Scroll down slowly. What do you guys want me to do? Alright guys, come on, we have to be a little more productive here, right? This is our last day, or only day doing Kaplan, right? Not the Kaplan, but the McGraw-Hill. This is our only day doing the McGraw-Hill, so we should be a little more productive, guys. Alright. Alright, select questions. 51 or 52. Do you guys want me to go over them? Yes, no? Alright guys, come on. 53 to 60. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. Do you guys want me to go over any of them? Guys, come on, let me know. So I'm sure you're going to get these wrong, right guys? So let me know if any of the questions look confusing. Okay, let's go over 53. In the figure above, points X and Y are on the line segment WZ. XY is 10 inches, so that's 10. xy to xz is 1 to 3. Okay, so xy, well, what do we know? Well, shouldn't do that. xy to xz is 1 to 3. Everyone sees that? So if we take a look, now we know xy is 10. So 1 over 3 is equal to 10 over x. So that must mean that x is equal to 30. Well, what does that tell us? Well, xy to xz is 1 to 3. So we know that xy is 10. So 10 over what is 1 to 3? Well, keep the ratio. Well, x must be 30. Well, that must mean that xz is 30. Well, if xy is 10, that must mean that yz is 20. 20 plus 10 is 30. So xy is 10, xz is 30. So 10 to 30. All right. So x is equal to 30. So that's cool. We know that. Wy to yz is 5 to 2. Well, wy, let's call it x, over yz. Yz is clearly 20. And that should be equal to 5 over 2. Well, 2x cross multiply is equal to 100 divided by 2 divided by 2. X is equal to 50. Got it? So that must mean that this is 50. What is the length of wx? Well, clearly we just saw that it was 50. Well, hold on. No, wx, not wy, right? Wx. Well, what do we know? All right, so we know that all wx is not 50, but wy is 50, right? So all of this is 50. So 50 minus 10, this little bit is 40. So that's D. Moving on, what else do we have to go over? Let's just go over Mazzet's list first. 57. What is the value of 2 times absolute value of x minus 9 times absolute value of y if x is negative 8 and y is negative 3? Let's do some plugging in. So negative 8, plug that in for 8x, so 2 times absolute value of negative 8, minus 9 times absolute value of negative 3, just plugging that in for y. Well, absolute value of negative 8 is 2 times 8, minus 9 times the absolute value of negative 3 is just 3. So 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 9 times 3 is 27. 16 minus 27, well, obviously this is going to be less than 0, and that's going to be negative 11. 57b. 58. Square root of 81 is 9, right? 9 times 9 is 81. Square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 9 times 5 is 45. 60. X is an element of the set 2.8, 3.7, 5.1, 14.0, and 20.0. If 0.3x over 0.025 is an integer, what is x? Well, a couple ways you can do this. You can kind of plug in here. It's really, really difficult for you guys. But what I would do here is I would try to do some stuff. So let's take a look. So I'm gonna move some decimals. So I'm gonna multiply this times 1. Well, 10, 100, 10, 100, 1000. So I'm going to do this by 1000 also. So it's going to become 300x over 0.025. No, not 0.025, but 25. Make sure you guys saw what I did, right? I saw 0.3x over 0.025. So multiply by 10, multiply by 100, multiply by 1000. Multiply by 10, 100, 1000. So I'm left with 300x over 25. Now, does 25 go even into 300? Yeah, it does, right? 25 into 300 is just 12. So 12x. So x must be an integer for it to work out, right? X must be 14.0, right? Because or 20.0, right? It must be an integer. Well, let's take a look. So which one of these choices is it? Well, if you take a look, if it's 14.0, it's not gonna. Well, if you take a look, we know what? We know that we need this to be an integer, right? And if we do some simplifying, well, we know that we'll get 12x over 1, right? Does that work, guys? 12x over 1. And then we can work out it that way. But I think that there could be an error, actually, over here. I think that there's an error. I believe so. Just give me 1 second, let me double check that out. Yes, there is an error, guys. 60 is not your fault if you got it wrong. There's a spelling mistake. 0.3x over 0.25 would tell you what a possible answer choice is. What they had here was 0.025, not 0.25, right? So this could get really confusing, but let's try to think. Let's think about the question if it was 0.3x over 0.25. Got it? Let's think about it that way. So I'm going to multiply by 10, multiply by 100, multiply by 10, multiply by 100. So we have 30x over 25. I'm going to try to simplify that. I'm going to be left with 6x over 5. Now, 6x over 5, which one of these will 6x over 5 be an integer? Well, 6 times 14, well, 5 doesn't go into that because now I'm going to enter 5 or 0. But 6 times 20 is it going to be over 5. 5 goes in 24 times. 4 times 6 is 24. And that's the whole number. That is an integer. So therefore, x can be 20. Got it, guys? They had a typo. It should not be 0.025 on the bottom. It should be 0.25 on the bottom. 62. Assume d is an odd integer and 1 less than d less than 11. What is the mean of all possible values of d? Well, what could d be? What are all the possible values of d? Right? Well, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Got it? So these 4 numbers are our possible values for d. What is the mean of those possible values of d? Well, let's take a look. Well, how do you find the mean? Well, since these are all consecutively placed, we don't really have to find the mean, as in we don't have to add all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers, but we can find the median because there's a common difference here, right? 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So just find the median, cross it out, and the median is actually going to be 6. Got it? And that's the mean. Whenever you have a common difference in a sequence, your median equals mean. So let's say you had 4, 8, I don't know, 12, 16, 20. See how it goes up by 4, 4, 4? The mean will be equal to the median, which is just 12. Got it, guys? Mean is equal to median whenever you have like a common difference between the two numbers. 63. What is 63? Yeah, 63. The shaded rectangle in the diagram consists of 3 squares, right? The rectangle touches circles at points X and Y. Points O and P are the centers of 2 circles. Both of the circles have a diameter of 18 centimeters. Okay, what is the area of the rectangle? Okay, we know that both of the circles have a diameter of 18 centimeters. That's pretty important. So the diameter is 18. So that tells us that each one of these is 9. Got it? It's asking to find the area of the rectangle. Well, 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27. And we know it's a square, so that's 9 also. So 27 times 9 is going to be your answer. And that's probably going to be like, that. Moving on. What else do we have? We have 66. Assume that the notation that sine OPQR means multiply O and P, subtract Q from the product, and then raise to the power of R. What's the value of? Okay, let's do that. Well, let's do this first. 8, 2, 16, 3. Well, what does that come out to? Well, multiply O and P, so 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract Q from the product, so 16 minus 16. And then raise to the power of R, which is 3. 16 minus 16 is 0, 0 cubed, so that's 0. Then add, and then do this. 7, 7, 39, 2. Well, what do? Multiply O and P, so 7 times 7 is 49. 49, and then subtract Q from the product, so subtract 39, just keep track of everything. And then raise to the power of R, so raise to the second power. 49 minus 39 is 10, 10 squared is 100. What's 0 plus 100? Well, 0 plus 100 is going to be J. Got it? Moving on, 67. In a marathon, 42 out of 60 runners finished the race. What percentage of runners did not finish the marathon? Well, 42 of the 60 finished the race, so who didn't finish the race? Well, 60 minus 42 is 18. So 18 out of 60 people did not finish the race. Let's do some simplifying. Let's try to make this over 10. So 6 into 18 is 3. 6 into 60 is is 10. Now, since it's 3/10, well, we can multiply that by 10 over 10. That's going to be 30 over 100. 30 over 100 is just 30%. So 30% did not finish the race. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Any other questions? Anything we still didn't understand? Any other questions, guys? Come on. Guys, come on. Any other questions, guys? Let me know. 66. Type first is 66. Yeah, 66 we just did, right? So keep that in mind. So we pretty much did the operation. So it's multiply O and P, so 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract Q from the product, so Q is 16. So 16 minus 16 is 0. Then you take that to the R power, so the power of R. So 16, well, 16 minus 16 is 0. 0 to the third power, which is R, is 0. And then do the same thing over here. Not too bad. The low one says 70. Okay, what is here of the trapezoid? Easy. Area for trapezoid formula. You have to remember the formula is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times height. I can't repeat the formula 5,000 times. You have to remember it, guys. Come on. So, how do you do it? Base 1, 14 plus 21 divided by 2 times what's my height? Height is 18. 14 plus 21, that's going to be 35, right? 35 divided by 2 times 18. Well, that's going to be 35. Well, if you take a look, that's just going to be 35 times 18 divided by 2. 2 goes in 18 9 times, so 9 times 35. I'm just doing some mental math. You don't have to do it how I'm the multiplying how I'm doing it, but I'm just trying to do it mentally. Oh, we will be left with K. Alright, guys, moving on. Any other questions, guys? Come on, let me know. Any other questions, guys? 70 to 100? Any questions? Alright, guys, we're going to take a 12-minute break then. Until 1:01. Then we'll continue. Hopefully you guys have more questions then. Alright, we should all be back from break, right? Hope that was enjoyable. Alright guys, come on, we have a lot of work to do today, so let's try to get some work done. Okay, so let's see what I want to do here. Some of you had a couple questions, I'm just going to try to answer them, and then I guess we can go on from there, right? So, let me just pull out my phone, let's see what questions people had on my email. Number 83, okay, Annie. Alright, number 83, let's go over it. 83 looks like this. Alright, so we have Tanisha's website had X visitors on Friday. So on Friday, we have X, right? On Saturday, it had 500 more visitors than it had on Friday. So on Saturday, it had 500 more than it had on Friday. Well, on Friday, it had X, so on Saturday, it must be X plus 500, obviously. The total number of visitors on Friday plus Saturday was twice the number of visitors on Sunday. Okay, so Sunday is 1/2 Friday plus Saturday, because the total of visitors on Friday and Saturday was twice the number on Sunday. So Sunday is going to be X plus 500 divided by 2. How many visitors did Tanisha's website have on Sunday? X plus 500 divided by 2. 83 is E. Got it, guys? Just make sure you look at the wording. Wait, just double check something. No, guys. X plus 500 is only Saturday, so just add another X. You're left with 2X plus 500 divided by 2, which is actually X plus 250, right? Be a little bit careful. Got it, guys? I tried to think for a second and realized that, hey, why do we only have one X here? Because we have 2 days, right? Friday was X and Saturday was X plus 500. So it should actually be X plus 500, which is 2X plus 500, which is X plus 250. Got it, guys? 85. Kelly is 3 times the age that Ali was 7 years ago. Okay, so Kelly is 3 times the age that Ali was 7 years ago. So that's Ali minus 7. So K is 3 times Ali 7 years ago. Okay, so K is 3 times what's Ali now? 18. So 18 minus 7. 18 minus 7 is 11. 3 times 11 is 33. That's it, guys. Come on. Right? Keep in mind that, 3 times the age that Ali was 7 years ago, which is 3 times 8 minus 7. Write yourself an equation and then plug in. Any other questions, guys? Come on. Any other questions? Let me know now. Come on, guys. $88. Alright, let's go over 88. Circle M touches the square at points O, P, Q, R. Circle N lies inside circle M. Cool. The area of the shaded portion is 22 square meters. Where's the area of the square? Well, we know what. The area of the shaded portion, must be equal to area of total shape minus area of unshaded. Right? Well, minus, again, the area of that small circle, which is included in the unshaded, but okay. Well, what do we know? We know for a fact that the area of circle N is 3 pi. So what does that tell you? The area of this circle is 3 pi. Well, we know the area of the shaded region is 22 pi. Well, 22 pi plus 3 pi is 25 pi. And 25 pi will be the area of the entire circle, right? 25 pi is the area of the entire circle. So if 25 pi is the area of a circle, and area of a circle is 5, and the area of a circle is pi r squared, that means the radius must be 5. So if the radius is 5, well, I didn't draw that right. If the radius is 5, that must mean that a side of the square is 10, and 10 squared is 100. Got it, guys? So take a look at that just again. We knew that the area of the shaded region is 22 pi. So this shaded region is 22 pi. Right? But then when you add in that 3 pi, we get the area of the circle. The area of the circle is 25 pi. Radius must be 5. Side of the square must be 10. Area must be 100. Got it, guys? Not so bad. Moving on, 88. We just did. So 90, 94. Okay. So 90. If x equals 5 and 4x plus 6y over 2y equals 8, what is the value of y? Well, plug in. So 4 times 5 plus 6y divided by 2y is equal to 8. Multiply by 2y. Multiply by 2y. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 6y is equal to 16y. Subtract 6y. Subtract 6y. 10y is equal to 20. Divide by 10. Divide by 10. 2 is equal to y. What is the value of y? F. 94. Q is the center of the circle. P and R are points on the circle. The perimeter of triangle is 39. PR is 21. Okay, PR is 21. You know that since these are both radii, they must be the same. Got it? Since these are both radii, they must be the same. Why? They must be the same length, same size. So let's say call this x. This must be x also. So 21 plus x is equal to the perimeter of the triangle, right? That's 39. So 21 plus 2x is equal to 39. Subtract 21, subtract 21. We're left with 2x is equal to 18. Divide by 2, x is equal to 9. What is area of the circle? Well, what's x? X is the radius. So area of a circle would be pi r squared. So that's 9 squared times pi. That's 81 pi. Moving on, that was 94, 95. 3/4 minus 1/3 divided by 5/8. Let's do that. Well, let's do PEMDAS. So do the parentheses first, right? PEMDAS says let's do parentheses first. Parentheses first, always. So let's do that. So we have to find common denominator. So that's going to be 9 over 12. Multiply that by 3 over 3 minus 4 over 12 divided by 5/8. Well, 9 over 12 minus 4 over 12. Well, you just subtract the numerators. That's 5 over 12 divided by 5/8. Keep, change, flip when you divide fractions. So keep that to 5/12, change that to multiply, and flip that to 8 over 5. The 5 cancel out, so that becomes 8 divided by 12, which is, if you divide 4 into both, you get 2/3. 95. 97. The longest side of right triangle has endpoints at coordinates 6, 0, and 0, -6. What could be the coordinates of the third side? Let's take a look. If we think about a coordinate plane, 6, 0 is like over here. Let's say that's 6, 0, right? What else do we know? We have 0, -6. Well, 0, -6 is like over here. Right? X value 0, bottom -6. Now, what's the third point? Well, if you think about it, what's the following could be the next point? Well, can 6, 6 be the next point? Well, right triangle would suggest that it could be here. Right? Or it could be here. That's really the only two places it could be. That would be 0, 0. And this would be, well, 6 is the x value, and -6 is the y value. Right? So, see. 98. Nicholas had a jar containing 12 quarters, 3 dimes, 7 nickels, 14 pennies. He removed 6 quarters. Well, when you remove 6 quarters, he only has 6 quarters now, right? Because 12 minus 6 is 6. He still had 3 dimes, 7 nickels, and 14 pennies, and then randomly drew another coin. What's the probability that the coin was a dime? Well, how many dimes do we have? We have 3 dimes. How many coins in total do we have? 6 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 7 is 14, 14 plus 14 is 28. Ooh, that's a bummer. 9, 16. 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 7 is 16, 16 plus 14 is 30. 3 over 30 is 1/10. Got it, guys? H. Moving on, 99. Brandy painted half of a wall on the first day. On the second day, she painted 1/3 as much. So, first day, she did 1/2 of the wall. Second day, she did 1/3 as much as she did on the first day. That doesn't mean she did 1/3. She just did 1/3 as much. So that's 1/3 times 1/2, which is 1/6. So she actually did 1/6. What is the ratio of the painted portion to the unpainted? Well, she painted 1/2 plus 1/6. So that's going to be 3/6 plus 1/6. So that's 4/6, which is 2/3. So 2/3 is painted. If 2/3 is painted, that means that 1/3 is unpainted. So the ratio of painted to unpainted would be 2/3 to 1/3. They have the same denominator, so we can get rid of that. So 2 to 1. 100. If 3x is an odd integer, which of the following is also an odd integer? Plug in. Well, 2 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. That's good. Let's try. Let's plug in. 1, 4. So they're only really plugging in the same value. So if you take a look, 1 doesn't work because 3 times 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. That doesn't work. So if you think about it, well, you kind of have to work outside of the box a little bit. So we know that the x value must be what? Is the x value positive? Is the x value could be positive or negative, but is the x value odd or even? Well, take a look. If the x value is odd, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Is that not an integer? No. So the x value must be even. Okay, so the x value is even. 2 times even. Is that odd? No. 2 times 2. Is that odd? No, it's even. 5 times 2. Is that odd? No, it's even. So F and G are off. How about 2 plus 4? Even plus even. Is that even? Is that odd? No. 2 plus 4 is 6. That's even also. Okay, how about this? 2 times 2, 4. 4 plus 7, 11. Yes, that works. That's odd. That's good so far. So that's an odd integer. Let's just try this one just to make safe. Just to be safe. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. No, that's even. Got it? The only one that's still odd is 100J. Got it, guys? Any questions? Just plug stuff in and you're good to go. You know that x must be even because if x was odd in this scenario, then 3x plus 1 would not be an odd integer. Got it, guys? That's why I plugged in 2 and not like 1 or 3 or 5 or something. Any questions, guys? Did it go too quickly on some? Ask me questions. If you still have questions, ask, guys, before we move on to the next test. Guys, come on. Guys, any questions? Alright guys, looks like we're done with that then. What I want you guys to do is look over what we did so far. Okay, let's do question 32. I got it right, but it was confusing. Okay, so this is an inference question. What might be inferred about why the mature giant tube worm does not have a mouth? Okay, well, we kind of have to look back in the passage, right? Okay, well, let's take a look. So, well, what do you know about the giant tube worm? It's over here, right? Along the floor of the Pacific Ocean, more than a mile beneath the surface of the sea, lives a unique creature discovered by scientists in 1977 when they developed a submarine capable of doing that deep. This animal lives in an environment that is forever dark. No sunlight penetrates. Okay, whatever. No sunlight. We kind of have to figure out what the relationship is to find out why mature giant tube does not have a mouth. Got it? Let's take a look at why it does not have a mouth. Okay, so over here. Similarly, giant tubes are realistic to have soft bodies, same substance, shallow crowds. Tube worms have no mouth or digestive systems. They get their food from billions of bacteria that live inside their bodies. So why does it suggest that they don't have a mouth? Well, because they get their food from billions of bacteria that live inside their bodies. Their food comes from inside their bodies. Got it? Which answer says that? F, really? Gotta get to do some careful reading and it should be fine. Any other questions, guys? Alright, so what I want you guys to do is spend the next, I don't know how long it's going to take, but spend the next 15 to 20 minutes. Here's what I want you guys to do. Some of you just got the book, some of you guys haven't done it yet, clearly. Here's what I want you guys to do. Spend the next 15 to 20 minutes. Looking through the other two tests. For difficult problems. Got it, guys? So spend the next 15-20 minutes, look through the two tests, and get me a list of the difficult problems. Got it, guys? And tomorrow, those of you who have me at the center, I'm going to be checking your books. Got it, guys? So bring Arco, Kaplan, and McGraw-Hill. I want to see that you have done all of the questions in those 3 books. Got it, guys? So tomorrow, those from the class, bring all 3 books. I want to see them. Alright, guys, spend the next 15-20 minutes searching for difficult problems in the thing. We're going to reconvene after. Alright, guys? Spend the next 15 to 20 minutes looking through the books, making sure that, looking through the 2 tests, right? Looking through the 2 tests for those difficult problems, right? Whether they be math, logic, reading, or scrambled. Got it, guys? Look for those difficult problems. Make a list for yourself, and then we're going to go over them. Alright, guys? Come on. You guys should do this before the session. Alright guys, OPM in the center, you can find the address on the website, 2910 36th Avenue. Besides for that, some of you, well, Frizana says, what if those of us who haven't written the books? Well, then I expect you guys to bring your work, right? I expect you guys to bring your work so I can see it. Got it, guys? So for those of you in the class at RQM, bring your books tomorrow, right? I want to make sure that you guys have done the work and have paid attention to the online session. I expect to see them tomorrow. All right, guys. But for now, dig for questions in those two diagnostics that you feel like are difficult for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Got it, guys? Whether they be whichever test they be in, just find those questions and then we're gonna go over them. All right, guys, come on. Yup, it's a class. Usually the students are in like a small group instruction class at RQM on Thursdays and Fridays, right? For those of you who are in that class, make sure you bring your books. Got it, guys? Come on. Bring your books. But for now, guys, don't think about that too much. Just make sure to bring your books tomorrow. But except for that, for now, all you should be really working on is, finding those difficult questions, Scott, so we can make the rest of the time as efficient and effective as possible. Got it, guys? Find those difficult questions, all right? The work doesn't have to be neat. Alone, I just want to see the book. Alright, Ahmed, that's fine without the ARCO, but bring the others and make sure it's completed. Alright, Ahmed, that's fine without the ARCO, but make sure to bring the others and Make sure that those are completed. Got it? For now, we should be focusing on bringing questions and finding questions instead of, worrying about bringing books tomorrow. Alright guys, I'm going to give you another 5 minutes to prepare your list of questions. After that, we're going to go over it. Hopefully we don't have to waste more time on, you guys finding questions. Opayami, I have replied to your email. Got it, guys? Come on. 5 minutes left, and then we're going to start going over all over again. Alright guys? Find the questions that are difficult to you. Alright guys? Questions that are difficult to you. Alright guys, back to work. Alright, so answer a couple questions. Let's see. Name is okay if you don't mark the books. What happens? So guys, it's perfectly fine if you don't mark the books. When I did SHSAT prep quite a while ago, I didn't mark my books either, right? Because I felt that, hey, I should keep them for the last month, make sure I know how to do all the questions. And in fact, the day before the exam, I remember distinctly looking over the books and looking over Bands, looking over Kaplan's, and just giving myself like, okay, let's see if we can do number 30. If you can do number 30, 70, and 45, and 80, you can go to sleep, right? So I was like giving myself like, kind of like a reward system, right? And that's why I left the books. That's why I left the books blank. But I did work on them on scrap paper and everything of that nature. So yes, you can bring in the scrap paper. You could bring in the scrap paper. But keep in mind that I want to see the scrap paper, easily noted, as in say that this is test 1, this is test 2, this is test 3, and pretty much everything like that. Got it, guys? So let's work on it that way. Okay, you have to ask questions, guys. Got it? These sessions are for you to ask a talk full of questions, and then you can improve. Got it? Your diagnostic scores aren't improved by as much as I want them to. Got it? Okay, Lalone had just sent me a whole batch of questions. We're just going to go over them right now. Let's see. Lalone on test 1. Lalone, by practice test 1, he says 51. Okay, let's the math section. I'm going to go over Lalone's long list first, and then we can go over tackle everything else. Okay, so Lalone says 51. And then he has quite a few others, but we're going to go over these. So, what do we have? We know tablet turned off. Let's fix that. We know X is equal to 30% of Y. Y is 40% of 600. Okay. Well, what's 45% of 600? Well, 10% of 600 is just 60, right? Because you just say 0, right? 0, 1 to the left. So 40% of 600 is 4 times that. So that's 4 times 60, which is 240. 5% of 600 is half of 10% of 600, so that's half of 60. So that's 30. So 45% must be 40 plus 5%, and that's equal to 270. Got it, guys? Just a mental math for a second. So Y is equal to 270. 45% of 600 is 270. So now I need to find X, and X is 30% of Y, which is 30% of 270. Now, 10% of 270 is equal to 27, right? Just take one of the zeros away. So 30% is 3 times that. So that's equal to 3 times 27, which is 81. Got it, guys? Moving on. The next question Lalone had was 63, which is this. Okay. WXYZ is a square that is made up of rectangles and squares. Clearly, we can see that. The side length of WXYZ is 32. Okay, so we know that one of these side lengths is 32. Cool. SZ and TX are each 16. So SZ, TX each 16. So that must this 16 and the 16 also, because each side length is 32. UX and VW. Okay, so that's already labeled. So if VY is 24 and each side is 32, we know for a fact that this must be 8 and this must be 8. What is there of the shaded region? Interesting. Let's take a look. We know that that's 24, and we know that that's 16. They have an overlap, right? And what's that overlap? Well, we know that there's a couple ways we could do it, but we should be able to look at the overlap. So just take a quick look at the overlap. We know that that's 16 up to here. We know that that's 24 up to here. So if we add them together, if we think about it, If we add them together, 24 plus 16 is equal to what? Is equal to 40. But what do we get? Well, if you think about it, we get this plus this. So this side length plus that side length. Now, we are counting, well, technically, we only need to count this once, right? This, and this. But this right here, this side length is getting counted twice. And that's always a problem, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to try to think about this as intuitively as possible. Again, there's a longer way to do this that kind of makes a little more sense, I guess. So you could think about it that way, but try to think about it a little bit smarter. Right? Always try to do it the smartest way possible. So we know what? We know that's 8. Everyone sees that? I'm just going to clean out some of the lines so it makes a little more sense to you. Everyone see how that's 8? Everyone see how this is 16? So that must make this 8. Got it? Because that should be equal to that. Now, everyone see how this is 8 over here? This bit? Well, that must make this 8. And that must make this 8. Because all of it's equal to 16, as referenced here. So 8 times 8, 64. Hope that makes sense, guys. Got it? I just pretty much did some work. This is 8 right here. This is 8. So that must be 8. Let me just delete all that. So this must be 8, right? This V something must be 8. And then, since all of this 16, this must be 8, right? All of this right here must be 8. 8 times 8, 64. Okay, guys, not so bad. After that one, Loan says 74, 75. 74. If x, whatever, is equal to x minus 2, what is the apostrophe of 6 apostrophe, value of 6 apostrophe divided by 3 apostrophe? Okay, well, what's 6 apostrophe? That's 6 minus 2, which is 4. What's 3 apostrophe? Well, that's 3 minus 2, which is 1. So it's 4 divided by 1, which is 4. 75. What is the value of xy plus x over y? Well, x is negative 1.5 times what's y? Negative 0.3. Plus, well, x over y, so negative 1.5 divided by negative 0.3. Okay, negative 1.5 times 0.3, well, what's it going to be? Well, negative times negative is positive. Well, what's 1.5 times 0.3? Well, it's going to be 0.45. How did I do that? Well, I could have obviously done it the regular multiplication way, but I thought about it this way. 0.1, or 1/10 of 1.5 is 0.15, right? Because you would just take the decimal onto the left. So 0.1 times 0.15, well, that's just 1/10 of 0.15. That'd be just, 0.1 of 1.5 would just be 0.15, right? Because you take the decimal one to the left. So then I thought, hey, so 0.3 must be 3 times that. So that's 3 times 0.15, which is 0.45. Over here, well, the negative cross out. Same process, but negative 1.5 divided by 0.3 is just 5, right? 5 times 0.3 is going to give you 1.5. 0.45 plus 5 is 5.45. Got it? 75 is D. Lalone says go back to 74. That's 74. You just plug in. So I'll plug in x, 6, 4x, 3, 4x. So 6 prime is equal to 6 minus 2, which is 4. 3 prime is equal to 3 minus 2 equals 1. So instead of 6 prime, I'm going to write 4, because that's what it's equal to. Instead of 3 prime here, I'm going to write 1. And 4 over 1 is 4. Got it? Oh, hopefully that makes more sense. That's 74. That's 75. 81. Oh, and OPMs is 83, so 81 then 83. 81. X, Y, Z, and Z are consecutive multiples of 4. Alright guys, just give me a second. Looks like my tablet ran out of battery, so I'm just gonna run to the other room and grab the battery. Alright, sorry about that. Looks like we're back in business though. 81. X, Y, and Z are consecutive multiples of 4. Well, what do consecutive multiples of 4 look like? So let's say we had 4, 8, and 12. Here are examples of consecutive multiples of 4. Right? Here's some examples of consecutive multiples of 4. So, well, let's say call this one X. Well, 8 is 4 more than 4. So that's X plus 4. And how about 12? Well, 12 is 4 more than 8, so that's x plus 4, which is just x plus 8. So you can write 3 consecutive multiples of 4 just like that. Smallest to largest. What is x plus z in terms of y? Well, x is the smallest, and z is the largest. So x plus 8 is 2x plus 8. Well, times the y is the second one. Well, y is equal to 2. Well, y is equal to x plus 4, right? That's the second one. So compare 2x plus 8 and x plus 4. Well, if you think about it, 2 times x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 8. So x plus z is equal to 2y. Got it? Because x plus z is 2x plus 8. So x plus z is 2 times y, because y is x plus 4. X plus 4 times 2 is 2x plus 8. And 2y must equal x plus z. Got it, guys? Kind of weird, but nevertheless, workable. 83, I believe. Okay, so we have volume of a pyramid with a square base is 80 cubic centimeters. The side length of the square base is the side length of the square base is 4 centimeters. Okay, it asks you what is the height of a pyramid. Well, obviously to do this question, you need to know how to find the volume of a pyramid, right? Well, volume of a pyramid is always going to be area of base times height times 1/3. Got it? So we know the volume, well, is what? Well, what's the volume? The volume is 80 cubic centimeters. So I'm just going to replace that with 80 is equal to area of the base. Well, the side length of the square base is 4 centimeters. So the area of the square base is 4 squared, because that's the definition of a square. That's 16, so 16 times height times 1/3. So it asks you to find the height. Okay. We'll divide by 16. We'll divide by 16. Divide by 16. you're left with 40 over 8 or 20 over 4. Is it? Yeah, which is 5. So 5 is equal to, what's left? Height divided by 3. 1/3 times height is height divided by 3. Multiply by 3. Multiply by 3. 15 is equal to height. Got it, guys? Not so bad. Moving on. The next question was 89. So what do we have here? We have the base of a triangle has the same measure as the length of the rectangle. Okay, so base of the triangle, so that's this, and that's also the length of the rectangle. Q. The width of the rectangle is 3 centimeters. The area of the triangle is twice the area of the rectangle. Where's the height of the triangle? A lot of interesting ideas. So let's say the area of the rectangle, let's say I call this x. Let's say that's x. Well, the area of the rectangle is length times width. So that's 3x, right? 3 times x. The area of the triangle is equal to, well, half times base times height. Well, that's going to be half. My base is x times height. Cool. Now what do we know? The area of the triangle is twice the area of the rectangle. So that must mean that 2 area of rectangle equals 1 area of triangle. So let's plug in. 2 times 3x is equal to half times x times h. So 6x is equal to half times x times h. Divide by x, divide by x. 6 is equal to half height. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 12 must be my height. Got it, guys? Not so bad. Moving on. 92. It's over here. Mary Lou bought a used car that has been driven 95,200 miles. Sandra bought a used car that has been driven 88,000 miles. If Mary Lou drives 3,600 miles a year and Sandra drives 5,400 miles a year, after how many years will Mary Lou have the same amount of car? Okay, so making a system of equations, kind of. Just setting an equation, not really a system of equations, but just setting an equation. So Mary Lou starts off with 95,200 plus, and then she adds 3,600 miles a year. So let's just make it 3,600y. Got it? So every year she adds 3,600. So if it's 0 years, she doesn't add anything. If it's 1 year later, she adds 3,600. If it's 2 years later, she adds 7,200. Got it? Makes sense. And at one point, that's going to be equal to Sandra. Sandra, who has what? Well, 88,000 miles. Plus, and she goes 5,400 miles a year to catch up. So 5,400y. And again, just some algebra. Nothing too complicated. Subtract 88,000. Subtract 88,000. We're left with 7,200 plus 3,600y is equal to 5,400y. Subtract 3,600y. Subtract 3,600y. 7,200 is equal to 1,800y. Divide by 1,800. Divide by 1,800. Well, that's going to be 4 because the zeros cross out. We're left with 4. It's equal to y. So how many years? 4. 4 years. What else do we have to go over? We also have to go over 95. For how many values of x is 2x over 3x less than 0? Okay, well, do some multiplying. Multiply by 3x, multiply by 3x, 2x less than 3x. Okay. Now, well, two x less than 3x, well, there's a couple possibilities for that one, right? If you think about it, if you think about it in terms of this, we know what? For this to be less than 0, for 2x over 3x to be less than 0, the numerator must be negative, the denominator must be positive, or the denominator could be negative, numerator could be positive. That just pretty much means that 2x must be less than 3x. Got it? Or 3x less than 2x, whatever it is. Right? Now, if you think about it, that's kind of impossible. Because if we were to divide by x on both sides, 2 less than 3. Can 2 be less than 3 at any point? No, 2 cannot be less than 3. Got it? So, nonsensical. A is 0. Hopefully, I'm going to finish at about, I believe, 3. We finished at 3. 11 to 3. Okay, moving on. 95, 98. Jerry needs 3/4 cup of oil and 1 cup of vinegar to make salad dressing. If he has only 2/3 cup of vinegar, how much oil should he use? Well, he was supposed to use 1 cup, but he only has 2/3. So he has 2/3 of the amount that he needs. He's going to use 2/3 of 3/4 also. So he has 1 cup, but he's supposed to use 1 cup, but he only has 2/3 of a cup. So he's using 2/3 of the suggested serving. So he's going to have to use 2/3 of the 3/4 cup of oil to compensate. So he's pretty much doing 2/3 of the recipe. So 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, that's 1/2. So he's using half a cup of oil. 98 is F. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions for practice test 1? If no other questions for practice test 1, Lilone has a ton more questions for practice test 2. I'm going to finish through those, and then I'm going to ask you guys for the rest of your questions. Got it, guys? Come on. Any questions, guys? Let me know now before we go on to practice test 2. Alright guys, looks like no questions, so we're going to continue on to the next test. Okay, let's see what level 1 had for this test. Okay, test 2, he had 66, 68, 69, 71. Okay, let's go more. Okay guys, ready? Let's do it. What's the difference between 15% of 7 and 7% of 7? Well, interesting. Let's take a look. Well, 15% of 7. Well, 15% of 7. Well, what's 10% of 7? 10% of 7 is 0.7. And what's 5% of 7? Well, that's half of 10% of 7, so that's 3.5. Well, no, not 3.5, but 0.35. Right? Because that's half of 10%. Add them together and we'll get 15% of 7, right? So 15% of 7 is equal to 1.05. And what's 7% of 7? Well, 7% of 7, well, 1% of 7 is 0.07. So multiply that by 7, multiply that by 7, 0.49 is equal to 7%. So 1.05 minus 0.49 is equal to 56. Got it, guys? That's 66H. Alright, moving on. Okay, moving on. '66, then we have 68. So number 68, what do we have? Andy is driving in a straight line on the freeway heading east. Morgan is driving on the same freeway heading west. At 1 p.m., they're exactly 60 miles apart. They pass each other at 1:30 p.m. If Andy is driving 55 miles per hour, what speed is Morgan driving? This is a common question, so pay attention. A lot of moving parts. You should definitely pay attention to this one. Got it, guys? A lot of moving parts, right? So let's look at it. Okay, so what do we have? We know that they're on a straight line, so let's try to visualize this first, right? That's always interesting. What's happening is, I'll say, well, that's my eye. So we know that Andy is driving east, so that's Andy. And we know that Morgan is driving same freeway heading west. That's Morgan, right? Now what's happening? 1 p.m. they're 60 miles apart. They pass each other at 30 miles at 1:30. Now what does that mean? That means that in 30 minutes, in half an hour, that means what? That they went from 60 miles apart to 0 miles apart. Right? So in half an hour, they traveled 60 miles. So that means both of them combined, if you multiply by 2, both of them combined, they were going at 120 miles an hour. Right? 120 miles an hour. So 120 miles an hour must be equal to their combined rate, right? The rate they're both traveling at, combined. Well, Andy, so it's going to be Andy plus Morgan. Well, Andy was 55 miles an hour. And Morgan, well, we don't know what Morgan was. Well, to get to 120 miles per hour, we must have a difference of what? 65, right? Morgan must be 65. Got it, in order to compensate. Because together they must add up to 120. So 65 miles per hour. Got it? And that's what's K. Moving on. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? Okay, let's see what else we have. Lone, I think we have a problem. Lone, can you send me the list again? I think by accident I deleted your list. So just try to send me the list again. I think I deleted it. Alright, while we're waiting for Lone to send the list again, what about you guys? What other questions do you have? Should I come? Okay, I'll go. Okay, I'll be there in like... No, I'll go. Okay, I'm gonna come. Okay, bye. Bye. I said bye. I said bye. Alright guys, because of an unforeseen circumstance, we are going to have to end now because I'm needed at the center because of some issue. But we are going to go over 89 test 2 just for Frizana before I go. Right, but I am needed at the center. For those of you who still have problems, we're going to continue this tomorrow, I guess. Not online, at the center, right? So just bring your books with the questions, got it, and we'll make sure to go over that. What is the area of the shaded region? We know that the height is 5 centimeters. The area of the triangle CDE is 25, right? So now, if the height is 5, right, and we know that this entire thing is, well, the area of the triangle CDE is 25 square centimeters, and its height is 5. What is the area of the shaded region? Well, if this is 5, and that's 5, right, we know what? That was, what do we have? Well, there's a couple things we have to look at here. So, let's take a look. We know that area of a triangle is half times base times height. We know that the area of this is 25, so 25 is equal to half times base times height. And you know that the base is 5, so 25 is equal to half times 5 times height, divided by 5, divided by 5. 5 is equal to half height, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 10 is equal to the height. Good. So that's for the area of the shaded region. So once I have that, well, you know what? Well, 10. Well, if I'm given that that's 10, it's not 5. That's 10. And that's going to be 2.5. 10, that's going to be 5 times 2.5. So that's going, well, 10 times 2.5 is going to be the area of this shaded region and this shaded region, right? So that is going to be 25, and the answer is going to be C. Got it, guys? The idea is that the area of this triangle is half times 10 times 2.5. The area of this triangle is half times 10 times 2.5, right? But if you add them together, if you add these two shaded regions together, you're left with 1 times 10 times 2.5, right? And that's why it's 25. Got it, guys? Oh, sorry, Samaya. All right, guys, we do have to end now, right? 1 hour early. Bring your books tomorrow. Bring your McGraw-Hill books tomorrow. Bring your ARCA books tomorrow. Bring your Kaplan books tomorrow. And we will continue going over tomorrow, right, at the center. Got it, guys? I'll see you guys then. Make sure you remember that tomorrow's session starts at 11 a.m., not 11:30. Tomorrow's session starts at 11 a.m., not 11:30, guys. Got it? I have to go. See you guys later. Bye. Have a good one.